Hello, welcome to the August koha-US Cataloging Special Interest Group. The one thing that I had noticed that I thought people might be interested in was a playlist from OCLC of some recorded events of theirs from ALA, and I'll put that in the chat. There's one recording on a linked data panel that had some updates that I thought was a pretty interesting viewing that might interest folks interested in linked data. And there's also a short recording of a preview of upgrades and new interfaces that they're planning for worldcat.org, which is the free to anybody public interface to some of the holdings in OCLC. The way that they're enhancing how to do lists looked really interesting to me. And this morning, I think Fred has an update on the presentation that he and Lauren are planning for koha-US on the CSV data to mark.
Yes. Could we wait until 11:30 or so in hopes that Lauren will be able to get to a computer? I can talk about it myself, but she has, I certainly hope she has ideas to add. I sent her an outline and she sent it back with some ideas and mostly, okay, can you do this and mark edit? Yeah, but easier than something else.
Absolutely, of course. So let's throw the floor open. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Exciting, interesting things they've cataloged or wondered how to catalog? I can mention that some recent upgrades to my work computer just completely made my software that I was using to print call number labels and barcodes inoperative. I was using the free Zebra Designer software with our ancient little Zebra TLP, I think 2844 single barcode and single call number label printers. And it was just this tiny little free software package that worked a dream. You just opened it up, put in what you wanted, and it printed it out, but it no longer functions. So I've started designing or working out how to design and explore the barcode printing options and call number printing options in Koha a little more. And in 21.05, there was a new feature to print a range of barcodes. And I think I kind of got it working. I don't have the font for the barcode number as dark as I'd like it, so I'm not quite there, but it works pretty well. And I'm going to take a look. I'm going to look up Bywater published some information on this new feature and how to set it up.
So are you talking about the cataloging plugin? Or is it
No,
something else?
yeah,
Okay.
something else. It's new right in there. Here we go. Here's their blog post on it. And I can go ahead and share my screen and pull up our Koha and see if I remember what's going on and how I got there. Let's see here. All right, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, it's over to the right of.
Here we go. Let me do that.
Okay.
All right. Let me get Koha. There we are. So it's under tools. And I am such a newbie at this. Label creator. New, and then barcode range.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can print out barcode numbers that are not in the catalog yet. You can just print out barcodes to use in the future. So, for example, we have very short barcode numbers. Hey, Lauren. Numbers like I put in something that I know we're not using yet. 222-894 221-00000. This is the new in 2105, the print a range of barcodes.
So this is in 2105?
Yeah. So we've had it for a while and I hadn't explored it. And then you go print range and you pick your template and your layout and enter your starting label position, and it'll export it to a PDF. And then you download PDF.
Our libraries are going to be so excited. We've been having to go to another website to print barcodes, and they have to send it to me, and I have to send. I mean, it's just been.
I feel really behind the curve on this. I'm going to stop my share. The feature, we've had the feature for a while, but as I was mentioning, I'd been using this free Z designer with our little zebra printers and it worked great, but yeah, it finally stopped working with our latest Microsoft upgrades on. So I've been exploring it, and Bywater has a really good tutorial and how to set it up, and I just followed their directions. And so now I've got I can print out barcodes, then go catalog and put the barcode on the item and tweak it in. And I'm playing with the template. I want the number to print a little darker, and I still haven't managed to get our library printing on the barcode. I may take that to the system administration group to see if I can get some hints.
Because I want that too. I need my library name at the top and then the barcode on the bottom. And setting up those templates are not.
It's pretty. I just follow Bywater directions with my little ruler on my label stock, and my barcode was in the position I wanted it first time. The instructions they have worked really well for me. And yeah, as I said, I'm only playing around trying to get the different fonts to get that number to print a little bit darker so humans can see that number a little easier. And since I haven't gotten the library name successfully on it, I'm just using a stamp after I print them right now, but I want to get that printed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have the link to the Bywater instructions?
Yeah, I had put it in the chat, but I think you joined late. Let me put it in the chat again. There you go.
I don't like that about Zoom.
It's okay. We can put that in again.
Thank you.
The other link that you missed, I'm going to put in again, is the OCLC playlist from some of their recorded sessions from ALA. It's on YouTube, free to watch. There was a linked data panel that was interesting, and then some previews of some new features they're going to be putting into worldcat.org, the free to use public interface. Some really neat list features.
Oh,
so since you're here, do you and Fred want to update us on how you're doing in your CSV to Mark presentation?
Yes, but before that, and I just looked it up because you were talking about barcodes. Does anyone here remember barcodes on the fly? Okay. I guess program that let you helped you print barcodes. It's not available the original source anymore, but and I'm just but yesterday I had reason to try to find something from the Internet Archive, a report from many years ago, and the person was really thrilled that I got it. And I said, well, I'd tell you how to get it, but I'd have to shush you. And that is the link to Barcodes on the Fly, or one link, and you can download the source code too. I don't know if anyone would find it useful, but it might be worth a try. So, okay, on to my outline as commented on by Lauren. Do you have anything to say before we start, Lauren? Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. No, I am going to, okay, now let me try sharing my screen. Sorry, I seem to have too many windows open.
No problem. The delay let me troubleshoot my connection problems, and I'm back now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I suffer from your too many windows and too many tabs open.
All right. This is, as I said, an outline that I put together yesterday because I've been thinking about what to do. I just had to put it together. And I'm going to start out. My intention in the presentation is to present my experience with converting spreadsheet to Mark. Bit of introduction. I have a long history with books. And then in 1991, I used a shareware product, and then started using Paradox, and eventually Microsoft Access 97, which I lost access to in 2008. So that explains some of the oddities that caused Heather to clutch at her pearls. Sorry, I should have waited till you finished. And I wanted to keep all the data I had put in, just because it may not be all that useful, but it might be someday. It's kind of the kind of explains what our house looks like. So, okay, these are the, can you see the mouse moving around? Okay, on the left, the data points I saved. Some of these are obvious, some of them aren't. When I was setting up Access, I only allowed 18 characters for a name. I can't remember why, because that was a long time ago. And I added a few things like condition that were specific to the item. And after much thought and doing and redoing, as Lauren wanted to emphasize, and absolutely correctly, that ended up with things that either fit perfectly or almost fit, or had to go somewhere, so it might as well go here, even though it's not an actual mark tag, like the 260D width. Yeah, I know it's not standard, but so what?
No, it works. It works.
You should have worn your pearls, you know.
Yeah, and Fred, on your height width,
Hmm.
something you could have done in Excel was created a new column, started the pattern of height times width, done 2 or 3, and then it would have auto-populated all of them combined. But then you need to copy that new created column and paste value in another column, or it won't. And then you can export it into Mark. I've done it so many times where I've done the column and had it merged. If you skip the step of pasting it as text, Mark Edit will say it's not, you can't format it. It has to be text file only. After many days of pulling my hair out, trying to figure out why isn't this thing importing, that was the culprit.
I've had moments like that, but not with that particular. And yes, I have found mark fields of height times or X width.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there is a reason that I didn't do it that way, maybe because I hadn't seen too many of those yet.
It is there in those cataloging guidelines that if the width is greater than half of the height, you do height times width in the 300 subfield C, but it tends to be, as far as I've seen, more of a special collections thing for people to do. But yeah, very common with cartoon books because they have that small wide format a lot.
Yes. I suppose if I wanted to figure out the average height, that wouldn't work. And export all the 300C into Excel. So, yeah, that's why I didn't do it. Okay, one of the things that really shocked Heather was the dashes. I shocked Lauren too. Well, that's the way it looked when I was putting it in. But on the other hand, you know, when if you remove the dashes and then import into a spreadsheet, deleting 0 in the ISBN vanishes.
That happens in a lot of, it's almost easier whenever you start editing to just select your entire spreadsheet and select text for everything. Because inevitably you will forget that whole 0 thing when you're typing in a number somewhere. And you won't realize it until you've edited like 20. Because you weren't paying attention to the screen. You were just.
Yes. Actually,
sharing my troubles.
Let's see, if you change everything to text in a blank spreadsheet and then import your CSV, will that keep the zeros? Okay.
You have to do it after it. When you save it to Excel, then because CSV won't keep it.
Okay,
So in Excel, change everything to text and then start your editing. Every now and then though, Excel thinks it's smarter than you.
That's my overriding problem with Excel. and the problem is that it's not. Where's this data coming from that's got the UP or the ISBN numbers in it with the leading zeros? Where's that data coming from?
That is from my original shareware, then Paradox and Access 97 exported to CSV database. And when I was creating the original database, I put in the dashes.
I can tell you what I do with not all, but almost all of our barcode numbers for items in NEKLS Search Catalog have 3 leading zeros that Excel wants to remove. And so what I do when I export data into a CSV file that includes those barcode numbers with the leading zeros, I make sure that there's a dash in front of those numbers when it goes into the CSV file. That way it forces CSV to look at it. If there's a dash at the beginning and the end of the number, it considers it text. And then I can use Mark Edit. After I've got the data into Mark Edit, I can run a saved macro in Mark Edit to remove the dashes at the beginning and the end of the barcode number.
Clever.
That's faster, I find, than trying to teach Excel, than trying to go bend over backwards to teach Excel to treat numbers as text. It's easier for me to, when the data goes into the CSV file, to make sure that it has a dash at the beginning and the end of the number that I don't want it to screw up. So that's just a thought there, is if there's a way you can put that text in there at the beginning and the end, and then use Mark Edit to take it out. So
Good idea. Okay, then I wanted
George, would you be willing to share that macro in Mark Edit that you do? Because I don't know how to set those up yet. That's beyond my Mark Edit expertise. But I can export and import like a champ.
I can, maybe that's something I can do at the conferences,
Okay.
show people how to create macros in Mark Edit.
yay.
I only have that on, currently I've got this desktop computer, and I currently have 2 NEKLS laptops, because one of them is, I'm supposed to be moving to the new one, but I still like the old one, so I still kept it around. And so I would need to figure out which computer I only have that function on one of them. So, but creating a task, I guess it's called,
Yeah.
in Mark Edit is not terribly difficult, and I could teach people how to do that on one of the workshop days, maybe.
Yay.
And
Just make sure
how
that's a
to
recorded
export?
workshop.
We can always make room for that too at the special cat sig we're gonna have.
Well, once we get closer to that, I'll come up with an idea. I shouldn't have said anything. I just gave myself more work to do, I guess.
Yeah, you did.
Just bring your 2 laptops to the conference and you'll be fine.
Yeah, the more laptops, the merrier.
I know.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing my battleship.
And your chicken, I hope.
Oh, yes. Chicken hasn't been anywhere in a long time.
Oh.
For some reason, the keys on the right side of the 3rd battleship are sticking. I didn't spill anything on it. Okay. Next, I wanted to change single letters A and E for author and editor to actual author and editor. I don't know if you can do this in Excel, but LibreOffice Calc will let you select a column and then do search and replace only in that column.
Yes.
Excel will let you do that?
Excel will let you do that.
Okay, good.
And that may be the problem I've run in with Mark Edit. If it's a single letter that you're wanting to change, it wants to change all of that letter. So if an author has A and there's nothing else with that other author A, when you change A to author, it changes all A's to author. You have to have a space or a comma or something to designate that this is not all of that letter. It's
Okay. In my database, it's A and E are in the 245E, I think. Can you just
Okay.
change 245E?
Then you can do,
Areas.
yeah, I would do like
Okay.
subfield EA becomes subfield E author. And it will change everything. And it's about the same in MarcEdit or Excel. Depends on how you're feeling that day.
Yeah, I think it's easier in Excel or actually
Yeah.
LibreOffice.
Yeah.
You can chime in and show people how to do it the proper way. Okay.
There's two ways to do it. That's just.
Yes. Okay. And then, yeah, pages, centimeter, dollar.
Mhm.
What I've been doing with a lot of things, mostly for the author's catalog, put it into Word and then split things by paragraph lines. Change a paragraph return to PG paragraph return, and then paste it back into your Excel column. I don't know. I mean, I find it really easy, but I've done it a lot. And there's some things I really can't do otherwise. I don't know if that's going to work. And then, yeah, eliminate duplicates. Like once I had little comma brown, and there's little brown. You can fix all the little annoying things. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, my philosophy is fix it now before you import it into Koha.
Right.
Don't wait until it's in Koha. It'll drive you crazy. And everyone else.
Yeah, I don't know how far we want this presentation to go. Do we want to try collecting MARC records with, let's say, subjects and let's say, call number and other things? I have a resource that a lot of people wouldn't have in a small library that OCLC doesn't want me to talk about. Oh, I figure it's part of my job description too. And I figured it's useful to add some of the things that I didn't have. And there is a way, let's see, can you see window with a lot of numbers in it? It should be, okay, let me try stop sharing. Stop sharing. And let me just do the whole screen.
Yeah, now
Okay,
I
the thing
see
moving
the.
around.
Mhm.
I downloaded a lot of records from Nevermind Where, and these are all the fields that were used in the new, in at least one of the records I downloaded. Do you think it's useful to show this and describe how I did it? There are some fields I ended up adding just because they might come in handy. Some fields were used 4 times.
I don't think you need most of those. I think you can just delete them randomly.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking. I was just sort of curious.
Especially that once that says LDR. I don't know whether that is. I just
Yeah,
get
I
rid of
don't
those
know
when I
either.
bring in records.
We can do without that one.
Yeah, and let all the initial zeros be stripped.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But there were a few more 600s than I thought, yeah, let's put them in. They could be useful.
Mhm.
The 300s. And how important is it to have the RDA information?
Depends on the item type.
Mhm. I think it is useful to have such a thing if at any point you wanted to do a quality control step to make sure all the fields were there in both, before import, after import,
Yeah.
or maybe that's just me.
Well,
For me, though,
the,
seriously, the ones that I tend to use MarcEdit to get rid of are the 900 fields that aren't used by our system,
yes.
Yeah.
because those are system dependent, system related.
Yes.
Yeah, they're locally used and defined. They're not part of the Mark 21 standard.
And some of your some of the problem we've had is the 001. If it imports their number identifier, it doesn't help you in your system. That's a local field. So I actually changed our wording to say local so that our catalog, delete that one when you do a Z3950. We don't want.
We actually, well, yeah, that how you use the 001 is locally defined, but yeah, it is a very important primary key for a lot of systems. So my standard advice to people is rather deleting it, map it to a 035 subfield A, because that's, yeah, 035s are where you put all the previous used record numbers that are not your current primary key. Because then, like, say, if there's an old OCLC number trailing around, that could be important someday.
Okay.
Yeah, Access numbered each of my entries, and I made that the 035Z. Z usually isn't used, and might as well put it somewhere. Okay, then. Of course, you have to make the MarcEdit MRD file. Where's the MRG? Anyway, you know the one a lot of you know the one I mean. And of course, you have to, when you're creating that file, you have to keep all the fields together because, join fields. Oh, 300 A, B, C. Otherwise, they'll be on one. If you join them, they'll be on one line. If you don't, they'll each have their separate line in the catalog, which is annoying. And that is about as far as I've gone, except, is there a way to merge data? And Lauren says yes. But she doesn't know exactly. Oh yes, and okay, the O2O is fairly easy to download. I ended up putting the 010 into MarcEdit Z3950 Library of Congress. If you have a batch, it won't work. But if you do it one by one, and it was about 200, and after dinner, I was sitting in the living room with the dogs, and my wife was on the couch watching TV. So if you have a couple thousand without an ISBN, but with the LCCN, you might do a lot of searching if it's really important to you. And some of my books don't have LCCN or an ISBN. Those are going to be the hard ones, especially if they have fairly common titles. Like Steig wrote a book. Either Steig or Hoff, Dreams of Glory. There are a lot of books called Dreams of Glory. Or anyone know VIP, Virgil Parch? No. Popular in the 50s. He wrote one called Wild, Wild Women. Yeah, that's not getting a lot of hits on that one too. Of course, my collection is a little strange because it goes back, I think my oldest is from the 20s. Lauren, how many libraries have you converted that had really old items?
A lot.
Okay, that might
We're,
be useful to
we're
go
a
into that.
linguistics society. Okay, define old. Not in the
Old as night.
1800s, but in the 1900s.
I say maybe pre-World War I, pre-1930 maybe.
You know, SILs published, I feel like, from before, from I think the 1940s or 50s, somewhere in there is when it was founded. So there's some libraries have that. Some of it's in archives. We're still trying to figure out what needs to be in the library. If it's in archives, that's a whole nother debate.
Yes.
Well, that's really cool progress. I love the detail and the fact that you're sharing a practical experience too with lessons learned from real books.
Should I go into scanning barcodes one by one on the shelf, because there are a lot of things past 2008, probably. And let's see, I have an Excel sheet that looks for duplicate entries. I'm just trying to think of how to weed out the ISBNs that I already have. If anyone has a great idea, tell me. And feel free to tear my presentation apart. It's a work in progress. Lauren, that goes double for you.
Listen, we're working on cleaning up our catalog. And so I've been pulling out all my Mark Edit tutorials that I created so that I could learn like how someone in our development helped me and then how I could remember what I was supposed to do. And I'm like, oh, I really should like put all this in the Koha education folder, create a document step by step, and then link to either the stuff I've created or the stuff I found. Because some of it is, okay, there's a video of how to do this, but that doesn't help me when I'm trying to do it 50 times and I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. I want a piece of paper. So but it's going to take me some time to look all that up. And I've been to too many doctors recently. I haven't had time.
Oh,
I haven't had time.
but yeah, sharing that stuff would be fantastic to get on the koha-US website, or even perhaps, is there a Mark Edit area in the main Koha wiki?
I don't know. I'm also wanting to create in that folder on the education drive all of my good tasks that are shareable in Mark Edit, like the 260 C to the 008, like that script. You can find it online, but I've already created the task. Just export, just import it. Or someone wrote me a script to move all of the articles that were at the end of the title to the beginning of the title of both subfield B and subfield A. And I'm like, that's something that I'm like, oh, that would really help.
So change the indicator too?
Well, that's a different, so if you do that script first, then I have a script that will change the indicators based on the articles, but you first have to do that step of moving, if it has a 100 or a 200. So I need to go back and clean that up, because I need to have where I have one article, if it's 00, make it 02, 03, 04, depending on the article. And if it's 10, make it 12, 13, 14, 15. But then I don't know how to run a script to do the author or the one, if there's a 100 field, I have to manually, the only way I know how to do it is to manually select the records, change the 10 to 00, I mean the 00 to 10, or vice versa if it's based on the author. And then I can run the script, the task for the indicators. But that I'm wanting to put all shareable in that would have been helpful if I had I wish I had that 3 years ago when I started.
And that's exactly the stuff that we want to share for, the stuff we wish we had. I put a link in the chat to there is a Mark Edit section in the Koha manual under working with third-party software. And perhaps I couldn't find a section on Mark Edit in the main Koha wiki on koha-community.org. But I mean, if there is one that anyone can find, let me know. But perhaps even if we get this information on using Mark Edit with Mark 21 on the koha-US website, we could update the manual to just say for more information on working with Mark Edit and Mark 21 records, see the koha-US website on it, and then get that into the koha-US website. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I would love to have it where we have a space where people can share those tasks they've created somehow, especially those scripts and the regex code.
The regex, yeah.
I don't know how to do that. And I don't have time to learn it. There's too much else that I need to learn that's so far ahead of that one. That I'm it's nice for people who do know that, share that, and then I'll just copy yours.
Exactly.
Well, that's why so many of my solutions are like using a wrench to pound nails. Regex would do it, but I don't know how to do it yet, and I have to learn so much more in addition, and the cat has to go to the vet.
Too bad the cat can't teach you.
Yeah.
He probably could, pick all that stuff up real easy.
He's a pretty clever cat, but I don't think he's that clever.
Clever.
Oh, and you get caught up on Heather's chat. 035Z. Yeah, I can call that canceled. And well, yes, you would have something from 1536, but I wouldn't.
Never say never.
This is true.
I think mid-19th century is the oldest for me.
I've worked in seminaries that have had really, really, really old books. Everyone wants the first Bible, but no one has. Which is really, I can't remember when, it's around there. I saw it at Library of Congress. That was really cool.
Oh, are you thinking of
the first German Gutenberg?
The Gutenberg Bible, which is sort of the first printed from movable type in Europe.
Yeah, and the one at the Library of Congress is on vellum as opposed to paper. Kind of neat.
Yeah.
But he didn't register it for Library of Congress card number. He didn't get an ISBN for it.
No, since the Library of Congress wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that could be the reason, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, someone at the hospital published a book, no ISBN, no cataloging record. That was difficult too, but
It's
put in
all
our
of the
catalog.
the majority, I'm not gonna say all. There is a lot of SIL material that does not have ISBN. But since for all ISL libraries, they all have the same copy of this book. And I'm like, how in the world can I merge these all together? They need a system number, but we have an archive number. So I'm like, I think we're going to start using these for books that don't have ISBNs. The archive is becoming the ISBN number. And then but I have to figure out how to either mark edit, or I've heard Google Refine might do this, how to merge, where if it's in the archive, something will assign that number automatically instead of me doing it manually.
Oh, do you mean Open Refine?
Open Refine.
Yes. Yes. I took a free class with library carpentry that showed us Open Refine, and oh yeah, George says the ISBN was introduced in 1970.
Yep,
Yep.
I have some SBN books.
Wow.
I'm going to look up the library carpentry site to put some information there. We also learned some regex and things like that. I'm also going to ask, we have about 15 more minutes, if anybody else has anything they wanted to bring up. Or
Well, one more question about what I'm doing. The format used to, at least with the Library of Congress, Z3950 for the LCCN, and I'm sure a lot of other places, has changed. So, for example, 57-1234 is now 57001234.
mm-hmm.
Should I include that? Or, sorry, should we include that?
I think it's worth mentioning, since that's a number that is an important cross-system control number. But you could just throw in the link to the Mark 21 format and let people know that the explanation of the changes to it are there.
All right, now that I've talked for most of the meeting, I think I've got to be quiet.
I'm going to put in the chat the link to the joint KohaCon and koha-US conference coming up in September, and mention that we're going to in September have two cataloging special interest meetings. We're going to have our regular one the morning of the first Thursday, as we always do, and then we're going to have a special one during the conference. So we're going to have many cataloging-tastic opportunities in September. And the Koha conference is going to be hybrid. I don't know if registration has closed already for attending in person in Lawrence, Kansas. Let's see. Yeah, registration close. Oh no, you can still register. Registration closes August 31st, 2022. But it will also be online for those who cannot make it to Kansas.
If there's anything else anybody else wants to know about the conference, you can email conferences@koha-us.org.
Well, does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up? Cataloging-ish? I'll go ahead and end the recording then.